Rukmanga Uddhava Vibhishna Palgunadin Punyanivan Parama Bhagavatam Namami. Nama Sankirtnam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranasanam Pranama Dukkha Samanam Nami Harim Param Tam Namami Harim Param. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. We're pretty much coming to the end of the 10th canto. Another few more chapters, which I believe will go pretty fast. In the last session, we saw the story of Sudama and how Sudama got the blessings of Krishna by visiting him in Dwaraka, and how then he continued to perform his devotional service even after becoming wealthy in our sense. The point that we learned is, whatever our condition of our life may be, whether we are not having everything that we need in our life, or we are having everything that we need in our life, irrespective of whatever it is, that we have to remember Krishna. That is a message that we learned from Sudama's story. Sukadeva Goswami goes on further narrating where on one particular time during a solar eclipse, as it was really getting to the peak on a solar eclipse, the kings and sages, and many of them were thought of doing some special yaga, puja on that particular time, and they decided to go to Kurukshetra. They selected a place in Kurukshetra and they went to Kurukshetra. That time, even Vasudev, Devaki, with their people and everyone, they also arrived there. And later, after some time, Krishna from Dwaraka, he also arrived with all his queens and many of others. After some time, the entire Vrindavan group, led by Nanda Maharaj, they also arrived. It's like pretty much like a family reunion in that sense, because many of them have not met for years, many years. So they're all going to meet now, and we can imagine how that thing is going to be. When you meet someone after many, many years, the experience that one gets is totally unexplainable. So Devaki, Rohini, Vasudev, they were all there. And when they saw Nanda Maharaj came with Yashoda and other brothers and everyone else, they were so happy. They were so happy. And Rohini and Devaki started speaking, and to Yashoda as well. So the Bhagavatam explains many relatives, many of them have arrived. It gives a list of names who all came there. Even Kunti Devi came. But one point to remember is this happened before the Kurukshetra war, though it is not sequential. Right? So it has happened before Kurukshetra war because Bhishma Dev, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, everyone were also present in this time. So they all offered their respective obeisances as they saw their relatives younger pay their obeisances to the elders, and the elders gave their blessing to the younger one. And Kunti Devi, when he saw her brother Vasudev and others, she became so excited. In the culture, especially in Indian culture, the maternal uncle and aunts are considered to be very, very special. Even during the marriage time, they are given a very special importance in the traditionally. That is, what to say? Yeah, the girl's mother's brother, and likewise the aunts, fathers, sisters. They're all very, very important relation in the whole system. So when Kunti Devi saw her brother and everyone else, their children and their wives, she became so happy. At the same time, she felt sorrow that they have been separated for quite some time. And she was asking her brother, my dear brother, what happened? How are you doing? And then, have you forgotten your sister? Right? There was no any message from you. So why have you forgotten all of us? You have not come and seen us for many, many years. And then brother Vasudev said to Kunti Devi that, my dear sister, Amba Masman Asuyatha Daiva Kridana Naran. She said that, my dear sister, do not get angry upon me. We are all ordinary men, and like a toys, we are under the control of our fate, our karma. Everyone functions. Therefore, it is not intentional that I did not come and see you. It is because of Kamsa's problem, harassed us so much. Then we couldn't have any other place, any other things to do. Therefore, we were under his control. Therefore, not that we forgot you, we remembered you all the time, but we have our own problems. This is important for us to really understand. Not that Kunti Devi doesn't know, but then the message for us to know is that Kunti was saying that, did you forget us? We were suffering and you didn't even come and see us. And then Vasudeva is saying, my dear sister, please don't speak like that. I had my problem too. Sometimes we say that, why that person did not even say, come and check on us, how we are doing. They never took a phone and called and spoke to us. But then we don't know what that person is going through in their life. They must be dealing something else, right? Unless and until we take a phone and speak to a person, or until and we go and see that person, we don't know how others are doing. We may be falsely thinking they are really doing very good. They are happy. Only me, I am suffering here, going through problems. But we never know. Therefore, Vasudeva was also saying the same thing here. My dear sister, I remember you, but this is where I was going through. Ugrasenas and everyone were been under the control of Kamsa. And we are in that situation. So all the royal people, personalities, Bhishma, Drona, Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, and our other sons, Pandavas and their wives, Kunti, Sanjaya, Vidura, Kripacharya, Kundibhoja, Virata, Bhishmaka, and then Purujit, Draupada, Shalya. So you can see all those great, great, great kings. They all assembled. They all were there in that place. Just imagine of this one, right? And they're all going to fight also later, but then they're all together in a very nice, joyful, friendly mood. So then as they were talking like this, Nanda Maharaj also, as I said, Nanda Maharaj also arrived with this complete entourage. All the gopis were also there. So Nanda Maharaj, as soon as Nanda Maharaj came, and Rohini and Devaki were very, very happy to see Yashoda. And as soon as they saw the queen of Braja, that is Yashoda, they just embraced her. They embraced her, said that, thank you so much for taking care of our sons, Krishna and Balarama. And it is just because of you we were happy here. Otherwise, we would have been in a miserable condition. And then Yashoda said, it is just because of you both I got Krishna and Balarama. If you have not given birth to them, where am I going to get Krishna and Balaram? It is you, cause of everything. So I have to thank you. So each one were thanking them so much. But then Krishna was just least bothered about what they were all talking about and showing their thanks and all those things. His eyes were going on a different direction. So Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva were talking, and Rohini, Devaki, and Yashoda were talking, and all the queens were talking there. And then Krishna was just slightly getting out of the conversation, going some in different opposite direction. So he was going to the gopis because gopis were right there. And then that moment was what they were going through. Krishna, when he met gopis, and gopis, when they met Krishna, there was a moment of silence. A moment of silence. They didn't have word to say. And they don't know where to start. They were just like a stone looking at each other. But all was seen was the tears of the tears flowing from their eyes. And they were just stunned, just looking at each other. And they have to break the situation, and there should be a situation. They have to come out of this. Krishna said, "Do you still remember me?" Bhagavatam, Krishna asked this one, "My dear girlfriends, my dear friends, api smaratanah sakyah swanam artha chikirshaya gatam chirayathan chatru pakshakshapana chetasah." My dear friends, do you still remember me? It was for Krishna said, "Do you still remember me?" Can you just, when they asked this one, gopis just broke out with cry. They were just crying silently before. Now, and Krishna asked this one, they just broke out. They couldn't control anymore their emotions. They just cried. It is said that Krishna consciousness is nothing but only two things. One is eating prasadam. Another one is crying. Exactly, crying for Krishna, not crying for anything else. Yeah. Our business is to cry. When that's all about what Krishna consciousness movement is. If we are not crying for Krishna, then we are not in consciousness of Krishna. Therefore, it's not Krishna consciousness. Therefore, the gopis were just broke out. They couldn't just control any further. And seeing this, and Krishna said that, it was for my relatives. For their sake, I have to stay back here. I know that I promised that I'll come back. When Akurura came and took me, I told I'll come back and just after finishing the business of taking care of Kamsa, I'll come back. But I know it's almost close to 100 years now. Almost close to 100 years. By the way, yes, almost close to 100 years now. So, but to the surprise, here's a surprise. So see, if we go back to our hometown, and we have this alumni of gathering of our school friends and reunion and things, and we have to literally go and tell, "Hey, hello, Mr. Gopal." Not you have to, first of all, we don't know whether to call hey, ho, hey, whatever the language you like. You may have to be a little bit careful because they may be in a bigger position or whatever they are. You got to be very careful before even you speak in a friendly terms. Hey Krishna, hey Yadava, Arjuna was telling in Bhagavad Gita when he saw the Vishwarupa, right? Oh my God, Krishna. To you I spoke, hey Krishna, hey Yadava. Like, yay, like, disrespectfully I spoke to you. Like that, we don't know when we meet our friends after many years, whether we can call like that, right? So first of all, we can't call. So first of all, we have to identify who our friends are. First of all, we cannot identify each other. They will think I'm someone else. I will think they are someone else, right? Look is totally different now when we meet. But surprisingly, after so many years, when Krishna met gopis and gopis met Krishna, it was exactly like how Krishna left at the time Vrindavan. They were looking exactly the same. No change, no wrinkles go to any of the gopis. When he left, a gopi who was in 16 years, another gopi is in 10 years, another gopi is of 6 years, another one was 20 years, whatever the age was, when they left, when Krishna met now, they looked the same, no change. And what to speak about Krishna? Krishna was looking the same too. Youthful, very young, very young. So
Prabhu, I have a question. Sorry to interrupt you. Does Bhagavatam say that Srimati Radharani was there too?
So we are going to get to that one.
Okay. Right.
You will not find that in Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam only says gopis arrived, but you have to go to books like Narayaniyam and other literatures of Acharyas where it gives more details.
Okay.
Bhagavatam will not speak openly about Radharani, unfortunately. Otherwise, it would have stopped. Sukadev Goswami wouldn't have been able to proceed further because of that emotions. That he just purposefully avoided taking Radha's name directly, because otherwise Bhagavatam would be very little. It won't have the entire episodes. So, but yes, he meets. So gopis were talking to Krishna, and Krishna was talking to gopis like this. Do you perhaps, you should understand that I am so very grateful. Krishna is speaking to gopis. I am so very grateful to you all, right? To the love and affection and whatever you did for me. But what can we do? It is because of the Supreme Lord who makes us dance like this. Because of his will, we are separated. Krishna is telling this one. Because of the Supreme Bhagwan, we got separated. That's how Krishna speaks. But he does everything what he wants to get his work done. However he wants, he will do, and he will speak however he wants. That's Krishna. Only Krishna can do. Sometimes Krishna devote, being Krishna devotees, we also do whatever we want, and we speak whatever we want. Try to justify what we did is correct. Because we are Krishna's devotees, right? No, we shouldn't be doing like this. So as Krishna was speaking, his eyes spotted on, out of all these gopis, though he was addressing and speaking to everyone, but his eyes was on one person, but he was addressing everyone. Right? Now this happens, right? You would be in a gathering, you be in a gathering, and then again, this is literally maybe I should, anyway. This we don't have children here. I can speak boldly now, no problem. So, out of many people around, and a boy spots out that particular girl whom he likes. Even though there are many girls, many people, many others are there. Even though his father may be asking something, his friends may be talking to him, he'll be answering all the questions, but his eyes will be on that one person only. But he'll be answering and doing everything. Like that, Krishna was addressing everything, but then his eyes was only on that one person. And that person is also looking at Krishna. And then they get together. And that is Radharani. And she just puts her head on the chest of Krishna. Again, this is all not in Bhagavatam, by the way. Bhagavatam will not speak these things. She puts her head, places her head on Krishna's chest, and Krishna embraces her tightly. None of these things are karma that we think on this world. We already discussed this one. This is all in a different level. So we should not just start thinking about, aha, what a nice romantic love scene that we are describing now. That's not what it is. But that's the mode of highest love that Radha and Krishna had. And they just embraced each other. And not only that, Krishna went and embraced each and every gopis. Krishna did the same thing to all the gopis, so many gopis. And Krishna spoke some philosophical thing over there. We are going to move on with that one, the last few things. And then after this, they understood that it's, we are in an aloof, separate place. Everyone, elders and everyone over there. Too much we spend some time here, then it's not good. But then as they were getting ready to go, and Radharani was still lying on Krishna's chest, Rukmini came on the spot. Rukmini came right on the spot. And then Krishna's closing his eyes. He was just resting his head on Radharani's head, and she was placing her head on Krishna's chest. And then the gopis were all turning their eyes and seeing that as Rukmini was walking straight to Krishna. And then Krishna was still in the same mode. He didn't open his eyes. And then he could just hear some, the ankle burst sound coming, and just somehow or other he just opened his eyes without lifting his head. He was like this, and opened his eyes. Right in front of his eyes, Rukmini was just standing there. And then you just imagine, you should just imagine this scene. Those who are Matajis can, I don't want to say, but then after a long time, you're going and meeting, you're going to see your husband. And then you're seeing such a scene where someone is lying on your husband's chest. And then Krishna opened, without lifting his head, he was speaking, Rukmini, this is that Radharani. That's all he said. This is that Radharani. And then that when Radharani's name was called, Radharani also opened her eyes and it turned who Krishna is talking to. And she saw, and Krishna said, this is Rukmini. When they first time ever got introduced, this is Radharani and this is Rukmini. Next moment, they embraced each other. They embraced each other. Because every single night after marriage, after Krishna married to Rukmini, every single night before going to bed, Krishna speaks about Radha. Whether he speaks or not speaks, in deep sleep, he speaks about Radharani. So Rukmini very well knows about Radha. And she was eagerly waiting to see who is such a fortunate lady, girl, that Krishna even now speaks about Radha. Who is that fortunate? When I am Sri Mahalakshmi, Rukmini is right here. Who's that? Krishna is always thinking about. So Rukmini was eagerly waiting to see Radharani. And Radharani, when she saw Rukmini, she was thinking, oh, how fortunate you are to get married to Krishna. And Rukmini is thinking that, how fortunate you are, even though I am married, he only thinks about you. How fortunate you are. It's not me, it's you are who are fortunate. They just embraced each other. So Gopal Prabhu, you had your hand raised for a minute back.
Yes, Prabhu. Can I talk this, Prabhu? Can I? Yeah. So what I remembered is when you said that in the Detroit airport there is a new technology that was implemented, where we have the LED screen, and there will be thousands of passengers when they walk through that airport. They see on the LED their own itinerary, not anybody else's. A person beside you sees his itinerary, and whereas everyone else sees their own itinerary, they will not crisscross each other. So when you said that Krishna was there and all the gopis are there, they will be seeing their own Krishna in the view, but not anyone else. So there is no crisscrossing uh, of and misunderstanding is what I wanted to say, Prabhu. That's all.
Very nice. Bringing the technology into Bhagavatam is a nice way of doing. But your example is really going to be very applicable. On the 86th chapter, when we go, there is a story on Shrutadeva, a Brahmana called Shrutadeva. You will really like that, what you said over there when we get there. So they all, after that, return back to the bigger audience. At that time, Draupadi also arrived. She was also there with her husbands, Pancha Pandavas. They were also there. And she saw all the queens of Krishna. Everyone were there, lined up there. In Rukmini, Satyabhama, Jambavati, Kalindi, so many, Bhadra, Lakshmana, many. Then she was very interested to know that how they all got married. They all got married to Krishna. So then she asked everyone to please tell that. And the entire chapter is dedicated on this conversation, and each one of them saying how they got married to Krishna. And they said that entire chapter, every queen, they took just one sloka and then told about how they got married to Krishna, which we already saw in the past. Right? So, but they did not go into too much of detail, only one sloka per queen. They all said this one in the particular chapter number 83. And then what they said is Draupadi was very happy to see this one. And then at the last part, says that we desire the same contact with the Supreme Lord's feet. Why they wanted to get married? So they want to serve Krishna. That's the only idea. So interesting point that has been said here is that being the queens, each one of them are a queen, but their maidservant, the queen had hundreds of maidservant. They look like queens, whereas these queens were looking like a maidservant. The reason is because they did not give a single opportunity to anyone else. They themselves served Krishna. That's a mood. They were like maidservant because they were serving Krishna. Even though they had hundreds of maidservants, they were physically serving Krishna. And that is the only reason they wanted to get married to Krishna. They want to marry to Krishna. No other reason. Each one of us also have to get married to Krishna. If not today, one day or the other. Spiritual marriage. We have to get married to Krishna. And what is the purpose of getting married? It is to serve Krishna. That is why we have to get married to Krishna. Not to enjoy. That is also an enjoyment for one. Like, how a wife, a girl who get married to her husband, purpose of getting married to serve her husband. By serving the husband, she gets a joy. That's exactly what happens over here also. And then the many sages, all they got together, they were also praising, but then they understood they wanted to spend some time with Krishna, but then Krishna was busy with their family members, and they understood this is not the right time, and they were just over there. And that ended the 84th sloka. And then Krishna met with Vasudev and Devaki, and they were talking to Krishna, and Krishna was giving instructions to Vasudev about how he has to be detached. At the time, Devaki was asking a favor to Krishna. She said, "My dear Krishna, I heard that you brought your guru's son, Sandipani Muni's son, back from death." And Krishna was thinking, okay, yeah, I did that one. So what's the matter now? And she said, I lost 6 sons before you were born, and I like to see them. I lost 6 sons. Kamsa came and killed all the 6 sons. I want to see them. Can you please fulfill my desire? And Krishna said, no problem. I can bring them back to you. And Krishna said, okay. And Krishna immediately left to the Loka where Bali Maharaj was present. Bali Maharaj, you all heard about the story of Bali Maharaj, Vamana Dev's story, and where Bali Maharaj resides there. So he went there, and then Bali Maharaj, after seeing Krishna, he became very happy, and he served, took care of very nicely Krishna. And then he said, what's the purpose of Krishna coming here? And Krishna said, I came here, I need the 6 sons of my mother, Devaki. I know they are here. Can you send them with me? And then Bali Maharaj said, whatever you want, you please take and go. I have no problem. You take. And then Krishna, with those 6 sons, he took them. And the 6 sons' names are also mentioned in the 85th chapter, in the 51st sloka. Smara, Udgita, Parishvanga, Patanga, Shudra and Grini. These are the 6 names of those 6 boys. The story is that there was a great sage called Marichi, not Maricha. Maricha is different, right? You all know Maricha comes in Ramayana, right? Subhahu, Maricha, Tataka. This is Marichi. Marichi is a great rishi. He had his sons. He had 6 sons, the Devatas. They were demigods, actually. Demigods. One time they offended Lord Brahma. Brahma was doing something which he's not supposed to do. He was trying to do something which was not supposed to do. That is, he was trying to have some relationship with his daughter. So therefore, seeing this one, the 6 sons of Marichi laughed at Brahma. When he laughed at Brahma, hello, Hare Krishna Bhavya, you're here. I didn't realize that you're here. Okay. So, Hare Krishna. Yeah. So when they laughed, they got a body. They got accursed that they have to be born as asuras. And they then was born as sons of Hiranyakashipu. They born as sons of Hiranyakashipu. And then from there, it is said, they were transferred. Again, they had many lifetime in between. There's a big gap between this Hiranyakashipu stories and Devaki story. Then they were transferred and they were born as 6 sons of Devaki. And then they got killed by Kamsa and they were now in Bali Maharaj place. And Krishna want to liberate the curse of these 6 sons so they can go back as demigods. So they brought them back to the place and handed over them to Devaki. Devaki was so very happy to see the 6 sons, and the 6 sons were very happy. And after that, the 6 sons got liberated from their curse and they went back to their respective place. The Devatas, right? They went back to their respective place. And this has all happened over there, and they were happy. And after that, everyone departed to their respective place. From the Kurukshetra, they all went back. And when the gopis were wanting to return back, Krishna said that, I don't know how we are going to go, but I have some more work to do here. Once I finish my work over here, I'll come back. Same dialogue, no difference. He said the same dialogue. You please go back to Vrindavan. I just have to take care of these old people. I have some seniors here, old people are here. Let them take care of them. Once they're settled and when they're taken care, then I'll return back. You please go back. And the Gopi said, Krishna, we have no problem going back. This is what Gopi said. We have no problems going back because we have been living in separation of you all these years. It is not new for us. Because when we go there, we don't actually miss you. Why? We still remember the place where you embraced me, near the tree. I remember that tree. And I remember the place where you gave me the flower. Another Gopi says, I remember the place where you gave me those flowers. Another one says, I remember the garland that you gave me near that spot. I remember that fruit, that mountain, that river. I remember when I see these places, I remember you. There's no time there's no moment that I cannot remember you. Every single spot reminds me of you, Krishna. So we can live in that consciousness over there in Vrindavan. But think about you, my dear Krishna. You are in Dwaraka. There's nothing that you can reminds you of us. You have to forcefully remember us. That's the only thing. We are worried about you. You please don't worry about us. We are happy. And they said this one and they departed. And every kings and everyone, they all left to their respective places. They all went back to this place. That's ended the 88th chapter. And another story starts. This is again a different story where Sukadeva Goswami tells to Parikshit Maharaj, where Arjuna, he has a special liking for Subhadra. So who's Krishna's sister, Krishna Balaram's sister. So he has a special liking for for Subhadra. He wants to marry Subhadra. And but then Balaram had a different plan. He wants Subhadra, as usually always, Balaram always has a different view than what Krishna has. So he's not very favorable about any of these things. So he thought he'll get Subhadra married to Duryodhana. Can you imagine? Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, Jagannath, Subhadra, Duryodhana combination. Can't even imagine, right? So anyway, so Subhadra, you want to get married, Subhadra to Duryodhana. But then Krishna didn't want to have, didn't like that program at all, not even a little bit. Therefore, he gave an idea to Arjuna. Arjuna, I have a special plan for you. I'm very good in kidnapping. Don't worry. You don't worry about these sort of things. I'm mastered in that area. So I can teach you what to do. Now you dress up like a sannyasi, a saintly person, and go into the place Subhadra is, and then do your business. Bring her, kidnap her and bring her over here. And Arjuna dressed up nicely like a sannyasi. How much ever he dressed up like sannyasi, you know, his shoulder and his appearance and look and the style of walk, nothing is going to change. It's all going to be the same. But he nicely wore the saffron cloth and he just walked into the palace in the place, and then he went to the Subhadra spot. As soon as Subhadra also has liking towards Arjuna. As soon as Subhadra saw this nice, smart looking, like a very smart looking sannyasi, right? Oh, looks very handsome. Never seen such a sannyasi in my life before. This sannyasi looks like he eats 5 times a day and goes to gym every day. So he's very healthy, very pushti and all those nice sannyasi. But he understood that is Arjuna. There's nothing to hide there. She understood. Arjuna also told that, you know, okay, we have to make our movements very fast before someone identifies us. So immediately he said, get onto the chariot. She took Subhadra into the chariot and then drew the chariot. As usual, all the other people and the kings and everyone, they got wild and they started fighting with Arjuna. And then Krishna was there. And so Balram was also very upset. He was also ready to fight with Arjuna. And then Krishna fell at the feet of Balram and said, please, brother, please, enough. Just leave them. He touched Subhadra. Its program is done. In those days, a boy touches a girl. That means there's, even you can find in Mahabharata many stories. Story where Bhishma Dev went to bring the three princesses, Amba, Ambalika, Ambika, 3. While he was on the way back, one of the princes said that, please, what's the use of taking me? I'm already in love with some other king. Therefore, would you please release me? And Bhishma said, okay, go. I'll let you go. When he went back, Shalya, I can't remember, I think Shalya, whoever it is, he said that you have been already touched by another person, you've been taken away. Therefore, you do not belong to me. That is a standard that they followed in those days. If someone is touched, you're touched, that's it. You're gone. So therefore, Subhadra and Arjuna is gone. Just why don't you just forgive them and let them go? And Balram became very happy. And he also sent a lot of gifts to them and his wishes. In that way, Arjuna married to Subhadra. And then after that, the chapter is chapter number 87, where the prayers of personified Vedas. The Vedas are glorifying Krishna. And that is also said by the Rishis, great Rishis. And it's a big, nice sloka after sloka after sloka, which glorifies prayers of the personification of the Vedas. The big chapter, we will talk about some of those important points. And also after that, the 88th sloka, where there's a question arised by Parikshit Maharaj to Sukadeva Goswami, and he asked about why the devotees of Krishna are poor. Krishna is very opulent, but his devotees are poor. Whereas Lord Shiva, if you see, he's not in an opulent place, but his devotees are rich. So he asked a quite interesting question. For that, the Vrikasura story has been told over there. And then after that, Krishna and Arjuna retrieves a Brahmana story, the sons of Brahmana that we will see, and summary of Lord Krishna's glories. That ends the Canto 10. Whatever I said now, we will cover those things in our next Saturday. Next Saturday, we will conclude Canto 10. With that, we'll stop here and open up for any discussions or questions.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So when in Kurukshetra everyone met with each other, is there a reference of Krishna's Krishna's talking to Mother Yashoda, because she has been also feeling, I guess, awful. Is there any reference to those days, that kind of conversation as well?
1 second.
Yeah.
I'll call you in just 15 minutes. Yeah, the multiple calls. I'm sorry, something's going.
That's fine.
Mother Yashoda and Krishna speaking. Yeah. Krishna's, of course, they're all together in a close knit. So Krishna, Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda, they were all having a conversation. That's what your question, right? Whether they spoke or, yeah, they did.
Yeah, because I heard that because of the separation from Krishna, Mother Yashoda almost became blind, and she used to cry a lot, all day and long. And also I've heard kind of that she never even cooked anything after Krishna left. Is that also true, or do you have any reference like that?
I don't know, Mataji.
Oh.
Being a good wife, I'll be very surprised if she doesn't take care of her husband.
Okay.
So, I don't know. Maybe it is possible. I don't know. As I said, there are many different enriching literatures on Bhagavatam with many commentaries, right? So there could be something which talks about these things to show how Yashoda mood was possible, but at least not in Bhagavatam we can find such detailed things, right?
Thank you for your wonderful lecture, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Anyone else have anything to ask, share?
Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, I think to Priya Mataji's question, maybe Narayan Prabhu has a better answer, but I will guide. In Tirupati, the Vakula Mata, mother of Balaji, she 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 came in as under incarnation because or some incarnation because she did not serve, as Mataji was saying, she did never cook or served him anymore. So she came as his mother, and she administered cooking in Tirupati, and whatever first boga happens or the food all is happening there, she administers uh, because it is served to his son. So that's a kind of story that we hear in Tirupati too. Vakala Mata, she came in because she could not serve during actual Krishna's time. She came in as his mother again in Kali Yuga as mother of Balaji. So that's one difference.
So it looks like Priya Mataji, you got an answer here. Yeah.
I just remember.
Yes,
I just
Prabhuji.
remember anything, but this one I remember somehow.
Yeah. And Narayana Prabhu, you want to add something to that since your name was brought? Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Sujanna Mataji, Manonath Prabhu, Nalini Mataji, Bhavya, or anything to share?
Prabhu, this Kurukshetra pastime is related to also Jagannath Puri Yatra, Prabhu. Some of that's this.
Yeah. Yes. Very much. Very true. Right.
So can you add a little more on that, Prabhu? If you...
Well, Krishna, while Devaki and Rohini, especially Rohini, were all there, and then they're speaking about the pastimes, and then they told Subhadra that you please guard the entrance. I don't want Krishna and Balram to come into our conversation when we are talking about Vrindavan. Yashoda, they were all talking inside. Because when Krishna hears about Vrindavan, then their fear is that he will not stay with them and he will return back to Vrindavan. Therefore, they told that to Subhadra to guard the entrance and not let Krishna and Balaram enter into this place. And they were just talking everything about Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan that was happening. while this was going on, and Krishna and Balaram came to the spot. As they came to the spot, and Subhadra was also there, and as they were able to hear what was going on from inside, as they were hearing all this thing, and Subhadra, the form completely changed, and Krishna's form also changed, and Balaram form also changed, the form that we see now as Jagannath, Baladeva, Subhadra, because they got into that ecstatic mode. When it is the symptoms of, it is said in the scriptures also, when one get into certain symptoms, their body shrinks. And many symptoms are there, so this is what happens, and this is what happened, and that is the form that we worship as Jagannath, Baladeva, and Subhadra. That's a short story.
Isn't it also like from the Kurukshetra, the gopis took Krishna, Balaram, and Subhadra in a chariot to Vrindavan from Kurukshetra for some time, and that's how the Radha Yatra festival actually started.
Yeah. I just told this particular short, but there's a big story behind all this.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay, looks like there's no other questions. Ashok Prabhu, back to you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much for this wonderful class, and wait for next week. Anybody else, anything to say? Otherwise, we'll adjourn.